Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in. My name is Jenna Fields, and in the next few minutes I will be taking you through something called the Romanticism of the West. Whether it be through music, novels, or cinematography, the American cowboy and the West have been portrayed in numerous different ways. And today we are going to explore the history and effects of that.
Get 3 coffins ready.
Huh?
Adios, amigo. Listen, stranger. Did you get the idea? We don't like to see bad boys like you in town. Go get your mule. You let him get away from you?
Yeah, see, that's what I want to talk to you about. He's feeling real bad.
Huh?
My mule. You see, he got all riled up when you men fired those shots at his feet.
Hey, you making some kind of joke?
No. You see, I understand you men were just playing around, but the mule, he just doesn't get it. Of course, if you were to all apologize... I don't think it's nice, you laughing. You see, my mule don't like people laughing. It's the crazy idea you're laughing at him. Now, if you apologize like I know you're going to, I might convince him that you really didn't mean it.
I saw the whole thing. You killed all 4 of them. You'll pay all right. You'll be strung up.
Who are you?
Don't fire a shot. I'm John Baxter, sheriff.
Yeah, well, if you're the sheriff, you better get these men underground. My mistake. 4 coffins.
Throughout the years, the media has played a key part in influencing the perception of history through its depiction of it. From the first cited Western, The Great Train Robbery, released in 1903, to more recent Westerns such as Tombstone and the remake of The Magnificent Seven, the West has been portrayed rather widely, and has formed a picture in our minds of what the American cowboy did and looked like. Their popularity bloomed during the 1930s to 1960s, waxing and waning since then. They reached a wide variety of audiences, from adults to children of each era, and for a brief period of time, almost every young boy wanted to be a cowboy.
I grew up dreaming of being a cowboy and loving the cowboy ways, pursuing the life of my high-riding heroes. I burned up my childhood days.
So this is where the impact begins. The effect that made the American cowboy a symbol of the American West. A figure laced in folklore. A hero, if you will. It is here that it becomes difficult to tell the man from the myth, the fact from the fiction. Let's look a little bit more into the truth of the cowboy. One of the images which has arisen from the Hollywood aspect of history is the common depiction of the cowboy as a gunfighter, never without his twin 6-gun revolvers at his side. And there's no question that this image has been used numerous times, largely for its iconic nature. A much beloved image, no doubt, but just how realistic? Actually, in many situations, the carrying of a pistol was not nearly as practical nor common as the movies make it seem. When a cowboy did have a gun, it was predominantly for hunting or protection from either predators or unfortunate conflicts with natives. More standard was a rifle or shotgun, which would prove more accurate over long distances and could be carried in a scabbard on one's saddle. This unfortunately means that your typical dusty street duel was not nearly as standard as westerns make it seem.
You damn farmer, drop!
The whole image of the quick draw and the gunfight, the shootout out in the middle of Main Street, it rarely happened. I mean, you find that more in your mining towns, where you had a lot of alcohol, a lot of illegal activity. Not that alcohol was an illegal activity, but a lot of shadier characters. But as far as the cowboys and the ranchers, it really wasn't an adequate depiction of what ranchers were or what ranchers currently are.
Regardless of whether or not it's realistic, the social impact of this image is substantial. Just as toy lightsabers grew with Star Wars, the toys of that period reflected this portrayal of the cowboy. Capgun pistols and shoot-and-shell guns were common, targeted largely at young boys. Advertisements stated that kids could be just like their Western heroes, with the help of the Lone Ranger rapid-fire revolver, or varied other items like it. And thus, the image of the gunslinging desperado persisted in society's mind, and manifested itself in the form of children's toys.
Lone Ranger rapid-fire revolver from Cheerios.
As time has passed, the faces associated with the cowboy have varied. Iconic characters have been portrayed by actors such as John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, Gary Cooper, Charlton Heston, Robert Duvall, Tommy Lee Jones, Randolph Scott, Sam Elliott, Tom Selleck, and numerous other iconic characters. An identity was built for the cowboy as more and more of a Hollywood figure, and less of an actually historical one. Hence the term Rhinestone Cowboy. This has become evident in TV appearances such as The Roy Rogers Show and that of Gene Autry, both of which not only showed the heroes, Roy Rogers, King of the Cowboys, and Gene Autry, America's favorite cowboy, riding their horses Trigger and Champion and defeating bad guys. But now they sang too. This image of the Rhinestone Cowboy made itself evident in music, merchandise, and even some elements of movies with no relation to the cowboy at all. Remember A Christmas Story? Ralphie's fantasies of saving his family from the ill-famed Black Bart exhibit this perfectly. His bedazzled duds and overall snappy getup is far from the realistic and historical dress of the cattleman, but thanks to the romanticism of the West, the image of a cowboy in Ralphie's head is intensely formulated from the Hollywood hero. Amongst other things, one of the elements of the West which is never really delved into within Westerns is the demographic of the cowboy itself. Believe it or not every cowboy looked like Clint Eastwood or John Wayne. Actually, the man referred to as the cowboy was a diverse character. The first of the kind was far cry from what Hollywood made it out to be, coming largely from Mexican and Spanish descent. These were the Vaqueros, stemming from the Spanish word for cow, or vaca, and their traditions and skills would be passed down and contributed to those of the later cowboy, with many of the same practices still in implementation on modern-day ranches. Upon the spread of the cattle business, the cowboy wore a variety of different faces. From Texans to Californians, ex-Confederate and Union soldiers to freed slaves and individuals of Native American descent, the types of individuals who made cowboying their trade were different and diverse. One of the more noteworthy figures which should be mentioned is a man named Bill Pickett, an African-American man whose talents as a cowboy were significantly notable. Pickett was born in Williamson County, Texas, in 1870 and later became known as a proficient cowboy and rodeo star, eventually being inducted into the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame. It is a result of the Romanticism of the West and the birth of the Hollywood cowboy that buries individuals such as these and the origins of the cowboy itself. So has arisen a detachment from the rancher and the cowboy and their past, leaving society with an image of fantasy.
So there it is.
The image of the cowboy, both in its correct and altered state, has remained both an archetype and a figure of heroics for years. The Romanticism of the West has changed how society sees the past, especially that centered around the American cowboy. But perhaps this is not such a bad thing. Nowadays, perhaps we could use a little more chivalry. Perhaps we could use a few more Lone Rangers, a John Wayne or two. If America needs a hero, by God, why not let it be a cowboy?